before. My name is Ngozi John-Uyah, first daughter of a middle class family. I was born in Kano. My father was a public servant, so he moved around Nigeria quite a lot. So I was born in Kano. But before I turned two, we moved to Lagos, and I spent the major part of my life in Lagos. My mom was a nurse, but sadly, she passed on when I was 8 years old. So I went to Holy Child College, Lagos. It's a Catholic school. And then from there, I went to my A-levels at what was then the what's now Federal Polytechnic Koko. Then I went to University of Jos, served in Kaduna. So it's like I've been around the country quite a little bit. Moved back to Lagos after my service, got married, stayed in Lagos for a while, moved to Abuja in 2000 because of the job. I worked with National Gallery of Art. I just recently retired 2 weeks ago today at 60. And so we moved to Abuja in 2000 because the act setting up my agency says you have to, the agency, the headquarters has to be headquartered in Abuja. And so being here, worked, in the National Gallery of Art and gone through, quite a bit. So it was an interesting journey, a bit of challenges, and all of that. But in all, it was a well-rounded career.
Okay.
That's kind of like a tough question for me to answer because I actually come from a very sheltered home, and the school I also went to helped to shape who I was or who I am today. Like I said, I come from a middle class public service family, and by the time my mom died, it was just us and our dad. Who in the people will say, "Oh, you're resilient, you're honest, you're somebody with integrity," and all of that. All of that was from nurture rather than from nature. My dad will tell you there's no small lie. A lie is a lie, So you don't tell what people will say. Oh, it's a white lie. No, you don't tell lies. And then I went to a school with strong. We had a holistic education. The motto of my school is actions, not words. And we were taught that even if nobody is seeing you, your conscience is there to judge you. And then so you always be, the best that you can at every point in time. One of the things, so when you talk about society, I was shielded from society sort of, but in the micro this thing where I was, the values that I got there, morally, educationally, and all helped me to survive. When I came, like there are certain things that you now come in and meet. Like you see, when the first time I saw an adult telling a lie was like a shock to me. I was just staring like, you had seen a monster, So even though one was shielded from the larger society, so to speak, we still had, at least in the home, we had people, domestic workers, who worked with us, you understand. And then what my dad would tell you is, you treat everybody as a human being first, irrespective of the person's position or station in life. And you should always remember that nobody chooses where they are born. If we all had to choose where we're born, some of us wouldn't choose to be born in this country, would choose to be born into the billionaire families and all of that. So those are the things that actually shaped me to the woman that I am today.
Okay.
Nigeria of my youth. Things were certainly not as terrible as they are now. Things were much easier. Life was much easier. For a middle class family, I think middle class has more or less been eroded now, because of the rate of inflation. I remember the first ever time I went to London, tickets were 877 naira.
Oh,
Really? Yeah, 877 naira. And middle class families could afford to go for summer with their families without having to be corrupt. You understand? Going to school, like I told you, in University of Jos, living in Lagos, my ticket was 90 naira. I used to get an allowance of 300 naira a month, which included, money for what's it called, water. Because my dad would say, don't drink tap water, because I had, I could easily get tummy bugs. And then people will say, oh, that's quite a lot. That was quite some money, because you find that you don't even finish that money before the next one comes. But these days, people are struggling. Is it on the 70,000 naira minimum wage that a family can pay their rent or put food on the table when a bag of rice is already more than the minimum wage itself? A crate of eggs, you can't just believe. What? Before you would say an egg a day, and it was easy for families to give their children eggs, no matter what station, no matter their level in life. But as it is now, you find people who just put things together. Children grow up without getting the right nutrients and all of that. In those days, we could have a day out once a week. Then we lived in Apapa, go to Apapa Club. And then maybe on the Sunday have a nice meal at lunch at Federal Palace Hotel. But these days, before you even take your children how easy is it for people to take their children to even Domino's or KFC now? So you find a lot of children are growing up without those little niceties of life, so to speak. And then we had parks where people could play. Now those parks everywhere is built up. There you have what you call it, concrete cities. Children are not growing up. The rounded, for a child to have a rounded formation, there has to be a balance between work life, school, and spirituality, religious, and all of that. So a lot of children are growing up because parents have to do the extra, and so children don't even get to see their parents, during the week, and they just grow. Children bring themselves up now. So those are the different what's it called. At least at the end of the day, when I was growing up, you come back from school, your homework, your parents could go through your homework with you. But parents, by the time they come back, they're thinking of how to put food on the table, at least 2 meals a day on the table for their children. So they're exhausted by the time they come back. You don't sit down and have conversations with your children. So these are the things that I see these days, and I wonder, and I feel sorry for the generation. But then again, the generation after us, after my generation, the 2 generations after my children's generation now, they are quite creative. You see, many of them are making it without resorting to crime.
Yeah.
You find many of them are they become techpreneurs, socialpreneurs, and they're able to do things and stand out on their own. And one would hope that a lot of these other children who would ordinarily look at those people who want to get rich quick would look at them and see that it's possible to become somebody without being corrupt. Yeah. I think it's really mismanagement of the gift that God gave us. You know, in our time, we had what you call the granite pyramids. Yeah, agriculture was we had a diversified economy before the discovery of oil, and then because oil was like easy money, you know, agriculture you have to put in work, and then before you get results. So I think that shift, that dependence on oil, and then corruption. Yes, we'll still go back to that word. You know, had just made it such that people no longer were thinking Nigeria first. We're putting me first. You know, and so when the world started moving away from, by the time the world started shifting away from the black gold, it's getting a bit difficult for us to actually go back. And then again, the insecurity, and that just also comes from this the end justifies the means, where we celebrate people who have money, who have some money in their pockets to throw around without actually finding out, you know, the source of the, without questioning the source of the wealth. You know, so I think those are the things that have made it a bit difficult. And then this issue of not having you know, being, the citizens themselves don't have this national pride. You know, we don't have, we've lost character.
Yes.
Yeah. So if we had all of that, we would pull through, because like there are nations that have gone through it. Malaysia, for instance, went through it and they've come out tops. There are always times when you have the dips. It's not always highs, sometimes it dips. But if you know, follow a particular trajectory, you know, it's able to, I mean, it's easy to overcome and you know, overcome and balance out, and then start to climb up again from there.
Okay.
You know, the one thing in life that is constant is change, but it's the one thing that people fight, especially when you want to push for positive change or to push that things be done right. It's never easy. What was it like? You meet a lot of brick walls, you get called a number of names. We'll call you Margaret Thatcher, Madame Due Process, and all of that, you know. But the thing is, once you know what you're doing is right, when you have, you know, your conscience speaking to you, and then you have the rules, you know, and having traveled quite a little bit and seeing how things work and how culture in its own brings more money than gold, brings more money than the black gold, brings more money than oil, you know, if it's well harnessed and properly placed. So that's, you know, was the push. That was what gave me the push to continue, you know. And the fact that one thing that I've been taught is when you keep quiet, evil thrives. And so if it doesn't matter whether it is me or somebody I know, once I see that somebody is not being treated, because without justice there can't be peace, there can't be growth. So we just have to do right by everyone, and then that, you know, makes the workspace to thrive and makes the nation to grow. Can I? Essentially, I am like you said, a communicator, the PR protocol expert. Those jobs bring joy, you know. Then when you move into cultural administration, art administration, you know, and then creating. It's almost like, you know, being in the public relations space, because you put things, it's like project management, let me just put it like that, you know. All of these roles, is there any particular one that, well, I would say I'm not one person who likes sitting behind the desk, you know. So which one of my roles? I think I enjoyed each one of them at each given point in time. They all gave me satisfaction at each given point, and each one prepared me for the next. And so I would say all of them were, you know, all of them were satisfying. But I think one that I would say that my penultimate position was the one where I think, because for each given point in time, it's like I've always been sent to open up a space. Like when the gallery was set up, when the gallery was created, the National Gallery, I set up the public relations unit. The same with the protocol unit, moved on to heading the FCT office. But the one that I would say, you know, and each time you have to, okay, let's say the other ones, there were antecedents to follow. There were, you know, places that you could look to see. But being sent to go and head the documentation department of the agency was one that, you know, it challenged me a little bit, because there was nothing for me to follow. There was nothing for me to look to or to work on. So we built it from scratch. So because like you have all the artifacts, all the works of art, and then you don't have a documentation. You don't. It's just like having your body. Without the heart. So I think setting up that department, and you know, one thing I've always loved to do is to mentor and to impact, to teach. And then seeing that the people I met in the department were, you know, we were all able to grow together. Like I told them, we're growing together. And so setting up that department was I would say, quite satisfying. Culture, you know, like the popular definition says culture is the totality of a people's way of life, and then art is life. Art is a part of culture, and then the artist is the vision, and the artist is the historian. You know, and the artist is the one who sees that, like, before something can be created, it has to be visualized. And then, say for instance, now Boeing, they must have an artist in house who would sketch it and bring it to, you know, part. And then from there, people will now see it. And so, but coming to national identity, our national identity, who are we as a people? What are the kinds of food that we eat? What are our values? What is our national value? You know, as a Nigerian, what can you put your hand to and say, this is our culture, this is our pride, you know? And Nigerian arts, you take it anywhere, Nigerian culture, we stand out as a people. Art would help help children to see, you know, those things that were there in the that we've had as our identity. You understand? And then it will help them to see and help us to propagate and help us to push it forward. Like we have you have from the different sections. Let me just pick, because we have multiple ethnicities in Nigeria, and so we don't have one particular identity. Say you go to a place like Oyo State or the Southwest, and now I'm not talking just art as in the visual art. I'm talking about art as a broad definition of what's it called. When you see like the Ashoki, you know where it comes from. You know, we have different looms, different materials, different handmade, hand-woven materials. You have Akwete from Abia State. You have the Akwacha from Aniocha. You have the Ashoki from the Southwest. And then, you know, you have the way people dress, their food. So art now, the visual art brings to life, shows you like, where are you from? Benue.
Yes.
Okay. Are you the Okoho eating?
No, the
Benue.
teeth part.
The teeth part. That's what's that you say? Pocho.
Yes, pocho.
So these, you know, when somebody says pocho, you know where that person is from. Or you say Okoho, like I said, or you talk about white soup or you know, or ewedu, you know, and then these are the things that, and we've exported these things out, you know, part of our art, the way we dress. You see, you notice that when you have interracial marriages now, this is now talking about our national identity, the way we dress. You have interracial marriages. You see the Caucasians deciding to wear the babariga, wear the wrapper, and dance. You know, the Nigerian dancing, the Nigerian wedding styles have now taken over the world. Whether they're coming here to Nigeria to do the traditional marriages, or they're doing them out there. So art helps to keep this alive, because like when these things are done, the visual art captures it and then helps to keep it alive in for posterity and for time to come. I don't know if I answered it, because I had to go round like that to be able to.
You did.
It's just man. It's engineered by man, and it all started with politics. Before I think after the First Republic, Second Republic, all this started, you know, let me say in the last maybe 3 decades or so. That you will see, you know, they because they have to divide. You know, when a single broomstick can be bent and broken and thrown away, but when we're together, they can't break us. I remember those days growing up. We had friends from Kwara then, Kogi, present Kogi and Ibira friends who were Muslims. When it is time for any of the salas, Idel Fitri, Idel Kabir, you go to their house, you eat, or they bring food to you. Christmas time, Easter, they come home, we eat together. You understand? But you know, now you see somebody telling somebody, like I think the other day was I think I read something, somebody telling Davido, you're fraternizing too much with Igbo people. You know, they will soon use you and dump you. And he says, and I'm very glad that the young man is detribalized. And he says, I am Igbo by blood. You understand?
Yeah.
And so if all of us could do same, if all of us could understand the fact that we're one, and there are things, I mean, those things that you try to use to divide us should actually be the things that bind us, because there's unity in diversity. The different, what people see as our strength is what they work on as our weaknesses and use to divide us. You tell people that, oh, the Muslims don't like Christians, they want to kill them, and you tell the Christians, oh, the Muslims don't like. And then if we try, and then we respect each other's religions, we respect each other's tribes, we respect each other's customs, I think all of these things, if we could go back to how we used to be, when we used to have mutual respect for our culture, our religion, and if you remember during I think it was the NSAS issue, when Christians were praying, the Muslims were guiding. Sorry, when the Muslims were praying, the Christians would guide them.
Yes.
When it's time for the Muslims to pray, the Christians to pray, the Muslims will guide them. What was missing? That issue of no politics. Our politics has become such a you see them fighting dirty, you see them going at each other's throats, and unfortunately for us, the lay people, you don't see that when they finish doing that what's it called, in front of the cameras, they go back home, their children intermarry. Why don't they quarrel like that? So I think that is what has actually been. If we could, if only those of the in the top echelons of society and the ruling class would preach that peace and preach that togetherness, Nigeria would be a much better, much greater country than it is. It's an experience that it's a life-changing experience, because the International Visitor Leadership program, which is the flagship program of the U.S. Department of State, is something that it's an experience that takes you interact with, you meet with people, in your cultural, in your professional space, and then you go, and then it's one thing, because Nigeria really we don't look at volunteerism, but the IVLP and a number of all those other US government exchange programs would help you to see the what's it called, volunteering, service, mentorship, and then you're coming back to give back to society. So you find that those of us who have gone on the IVLP International Leadership Program, those alumni, we come back and you become agents of change, positive change in the country. The Nigeria creative industries is quite dynamic, very rich. But unfortunately, the only thing that they lack is support, structure, finance. And so the products are there, but they need grants, because the creative industry, the creative economy, is one of the fastest growing economies, and it's the place to be. I think majorly structure. If we have if the government and the international community puts in the structure, and then you have grants to support those ones who are not the ones who are established, but those ones who are up and coming, they'll do really well.